and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Exam Prep. Getting you ready. Look, I even shaved for you folks. Getting you ready to prepare for your exam. And what you have to do to pass that exam. Y'all know who I am. My name is Paul. And thanks for coming tonight. Hopefully you're ready. All of you are ready to get your exam on. Learn a little bit, gain a little more knowledge of the code, get some free looks at the Fast Trax program, listen to my dogs barking. It's just a casual day here at the Casa de Abernathy. So at any rate, thanks for coming and joining the stream. What's up, Ron Bo? Thanks for coming. George, thanks for coming. Houston, there you go. Michael, Norris, thank you for coming. Boston in the house. We got Boston. Yep, sure did, George. Yep. Well, thank y'all. We got here. Vin, Cleveland, sweet. Hey, I kind of like this thing where people just roll out where they're from. I kind of like that. Let's see here. Phoenix, Arizona. Love it. Wanna fish? Thanks for coming. Excellent. All right, we got a good mix in here tonight. Exam prep. Everybody's got to prepare for that exam. You know, COVID-19 might be in the picture, but you know what? It's not going to stop us from studying. What's up, Matt? North Carolina. RG. Orlando. Sweet. Man, I should do a count or something and see if we get somebody from every state in here. Well, that'd be hard because we got 14 viewers. But if we did, that would be awesome. So, a couple new features. So y'all are new. You see, we have the call line in for when we do live calls is now going to be static instead of scrolling. And we've got some really exciting things coming up when it comes to shows. I've got some special guests that are going to be on. I'm hoping I can do a partnership with this guy who's really knowledgeable with things like leadership and business that could bring you and some of the electrician live stuff. So we're excited about that. Anytime somebody donates to this stream, when we do one of these streams and they make a donation, it's going to ticker across the top. And those are some people that donated in the past. And let's see. What else? Again, donations go towards making sure we cover the cost of the stickers, shipping, and still getting tons of these are going out. I'm getting low, so again, that means the next batch will come. Quicker these go, the next batch will come, and we'll have some new logos, some new choices on here, some new stuff I'm working on. All right. Anyway, Rock Hill, South Carolina, Charlotte. All right. So we're going to talk exam prep. Hopefully you, Tim, Raleigh. Spent a lot of time in Raleigh. Thanks, Tim. Tim, I noticed that you haven't submitted any courses. Ooh, I don't know what that be right back thing was. I noticed you haven't done any fast track lately. Need to get you on that, Tim. All right. So hopefully you got the calculators if we do any calcs. If we happen to have any calcs, we'll do that. Again, it's a slight delay. I can notice I'm monitoring the stream. There's a little bit of a delay, so in case y'all hear this and things are a little delayed. So we're gonna look at the fast tracks tonight, and because it's delayed, it allows me to see, the delay in the screen. So it gives me the ability to make sure I pause out my delay or something. But this is again all having to do with YouTube. Okay. All right. Hector, Plant City. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that donation. Michael's donated. Appreciate it. It'll eventually work its way onto the screen, I hope, if I got it set up right. If not, I verbally thank you for that donation. Let's see here. Let's go on in. There we go. Look at that. There you go. Came up on the screen, the little walking man. I don't know about the one on the top, though. I'm assuming that's going to update at some point. I don't know yet. We'll see. And I just added these features, so bear with me there. Okay. So we're going to do some exam prep today. Unless any of you have any questions before we get into that, any exam prep questions, anything that you want to talk about, any questions you want to present prior that you've been studying through the day. Hopefully, any of you have listened to the latest podcast that came out, which were cable tray. So I did two parts. Hello, Eli from San Jose, California. Thank you. Joseph Grice, thanks for following. And so I did some podcasts for cable tray, and hopefully you will check that out. Because hold on for a second, guys. I want to see something here. Let's see. Hold on for a second. Okay, sorry about that. So hopefully you let me turn this stuff off here real quick. Hopefully you get a chance. Hopefully you got a chance to maybe take a chance and listen to my podcast today. The podcast that we did today, or I did, well, maybe not today, the other day, was on cable tray. So hopefully you've had an opportunity to listen to that and do the cable tray thing. I just noticed I'm learning something new. I'm actually watching the stream like y'all now to monitor the delay. And interesting, kind of interesting how that works there. It's a weird delay. It pops up on the screen when y'all post something. I didn't realize. I see it on my screen on the stream, but I didn't realize that it popped up as well. Anyway, kind of interesting. I didn't know that. Maybe I don't need this on the screen thing anymore. Maybe I don't. Maybe I just turn it off. Let me just turn it off. Oops. No, I don't want to turn that off. Let's turn off the chat bot there. Maybe I don't need that anymore because y'all can see, what's on the screen. So I'll turn that off. And anytime unless y'all want me to turn that back on, if it disappears, then let me know. Again, we're just chilling out, talking code. So let's see here. So I did one on cable trays. Hopefully y'all check that out. It's a 2-part series on cable trays. And I did that. And Actually, I don't like that, guys. I like y'all to be able to see what y'all say. I don't know about y'all, but I like it. I don't like the donation ticker because you know what? We had a donation by Michael and it did not show up there, so it's not working right. But at least you popped up on the screen, so we'll just turn that ticker off. All right, so I did a cable tray, 2-part series. So make sure you go watch it because it's a pretty decent podcast, 2 of them. Okay, so hopefully y'all go check that out. All right, let's see here. Real quick before we get into the exam prep stuff. I know we're taking some time here. We've already been, 8 minutes in. So let's see. What do we got here? Ryan, you helped me out understanding how redundancy aluminum ground. Okay, sweet. That was probably during the Electrician Live. Yep, probably during that. Let's see here. I'm doing well, thank you. This COVID thing is nasty. So people are getting sick, and that Boris, whatever, from over Europe is in intensive care right now. It's terrible. Let's see here. Dog City, California. Thanks. Vin, can I recommend online training classes to become an electrician, or do you have one? All right. So if you're looking to get in order to get your license, you have to have hands-on training a certain number of hours. Okay, you have to have a certain number of hands-on training hours, and then once you accumulate those, then you have to have so much hours. Then you can sit for an exam. If you really want to become an electrician, you'll have to get into a program that qualifies you for the hours. None of my courses qualify you for actual hours for licensing. Okay, that's called pre-licensing credits exam, and that would be through an apprenticeship program, something like that. Okay, that's apprenticeships type of programs, and I don't offer the apprenticeship programs like that. My courses are for people to prepare for exams, and once you are licensed, my courses will help you better understand residential, commercial, industrial, grounding and bonding, but they're not going to give you credit, that type of thing. Okay, now our partnership with through My CEU Depot might have some pre-licensing stuff that you can check out. Okay, and just go to myceudepot.com and then click on the state and see if there's any pre-licensing stuff. I don't know if there are or not. Okay. Let's see here. After the live stream, if we watch, we won't see anyone's comments if you turn it off. Now, that is probably very true. Good point. Do you really want to see people's comments? Let's see here. All right. Washington State, Juan, thanks for coming. Michael, 600 class, 8,000 work in mass for license. Yes, definitely. Benjamin, thanks for liking the stream. Again, guys, it always helps me if you can give me that thumbs up if you appreciate it. I'm always going to have my haters out there, and that's okay. I can't do anything about those folks. They live in that world. Okay, they could watch a video about the birth of Jesus, and they would still put a thumbs down on it. There's just people out there that are just that way. I appreciate it. But thumbs up, I do appreciate it on the videos and sharing them. Juan, there is the discount is already discounted. It was up to 600 or something, whatever it was, 500 and some dollars, and I've dropped everything down to 315. That is the best discount that I can give and still be able to pay my LMS backbone. It's the best I can do for it. Okay. All right, so I'm not sure Carl liked the stream. Thank you, Carl. Appreciate you. I'm going to check real quick, folks, and see why this stream is so delayed. If you just give me a second, bear with me while I check this out. Don't nobody leave on me yet here. I just want to check the stream and see what in the world why it's so slow. So let's see here. Let's see here. Bear with me. Just stay with me here for a second. Trying to see why the stream Bear with me here. Just trying to see what's going on here with this stream. Huh. It's a low latency, so it should be okay. Not sure what's going on with that. Anywho. All right. Whatever the reason. Okay. Anywho, let's get in some training here. Let's answer some questions. Again, if and it's www.myceudepot.com. myceudepot.com. Okay. All right. Say Rombo says, I'm a live chat bodyguard. Anyone giving a thumbs down, I'm coming to your crib. All right. All right. So let's go on and look at some fast tracks, folks. And I understand there's a delay. So again, I will be appreciative of that fact on the screen. I will be appreciative, and I realize there's a delay. So let's see here. All right, let's just go into a program. I'll go into this one. Okay, let's see. Actually, not too bad. And let's see if I can, increase this size a little bit. Okay. All right. Should be a good size now. It's a little, again, there's a little bit of delay, but I'll take into account the delay when we're asking these questions. So, all right. So look at your screen, got your code books out. Look at this and go on and give me some of your answers here. Let's read this together. It says, where a service disconnection mean consists of 2 or 3 single pole switches or breakers capable of individually operation and supplying a multi-wire circuits. This method is in compliance with the NEC where the devices are indicated. These switches or breakers are linked together using a galvanized nail. Okay. Devices are listed. Switches or breakers are equipped with an identified handle tie. Okay. Fuzzy. It is fuzzy, but it'll clear up. My connection shows it clear on my monitor device that I'm monitoring a phone. So if it's fuzzy, it's probably your internet connection. Okay, because mine looks clear on my end. Let's see here. We see IM says D. Okay. 23071B. Okay. Are you sure? Because I just wanted to check. I'm sure you're right. But we just want to make sure everybody else kind of catches up because I know there's a delay. And let's see. Hey, Tu. Cool. Welcome. All right, let's see here. What I want to do. Yeah, it'll clear up. So I've got a bunch of different references here from different people. Got a bunch of stuff coming up. Again, I see now what happens is it pops up on the screen. Don't cheat. Don't look. Don't look at somebody else's. And let's see here. So I'm going to also, while we're doing this, guys, I'm going to open up in the background. Hold on here. I'm going to open up my code book so that we have a code book handy so we can look these things up together. So bear with me. I'll get my electronic code book started. Bear with me. Okay. I knew eventually I'd get this going. Okay, let's see here. All right, let me move this up a little bit. Okay. Bear with me, guys. Let me go on and let me recycle this all up because I really wasn't ready for this part of it. I don't know why I wasn't ready. Guess because I didn't think I was going to do this much. Hold on here. Ooh, that's terrible. Hold on here. Bear with me. Okay, now I'm going to get me. Okay. Now we're good. We're cooking with grease. Let me move me over a little bit because y'all don't care about me. All right. That looks pretty decent. Okay. Let's go back to the question. All right. Back to the question again. All right. Now it says, and the stream seems like it's catching up better now. It says when a service disconnection means consists of 2 or more single pole switches and breakers capable of individual operation and supplying multi-wire circuits, the method of installation is in compliance with NEC where the devices indicating switches, circuit breakers are linked together using a galvanized nail. Devices are listed and switches or breakers are equipped with identified handle ties. Okay. So, what's up, Ronald from Detroit? Welcome. Juan, they could be anything. This is just pulling all different kinds of code questions. I don't really stick to just residential versus commercial. I pull from all of them. All right, so 230.71b, and we got everybody saying D. Okay, so we'll go on and answer D. And it is 230.71b. Most certainly is. And we'll go into the National Electrical Code. And we'll see what it is. All right, we'll go to the NEC. And let me adjust this a little bit so that we can make sure the code book is actually what's in the picture and not nothing else. Bear with me, guys. Let me update this. Okay. So right above my head, right there, is the code reference that we're dealing with. All right. And that says 2 or 3 single pole switches or breakers capable of individual operation shall be permitted on multi-wire circuits, 1 pole for each ungrounded conductor as 1 multi-pole disconnect, provided they are equipped with identified handle ties or a master handle to disconnect all conductors of the service with no more than 6 operations of the hand. Okay? Now, where would I have gotten this in the code, incidentally? Well, in this one, I probably could have gone to the index if I didn't know any better, looked under, because it was talking about service disconnects, and would have been switches, okay, or circuit breakers. Might be a way that I would identify that question out to get me there, okay, in the code book. Usually we jump back and forth to the index, but I'm going to kind of let y'all do a little bit of code work tonight, let y'all look these up, and many of you have been coming for quite a while. So, again, you know how to use the index. And so anybody that's new, just let me know, and I will show you how we use the index, okay? But, again, service disconnect is probably going to be the trigger. At least it's going to put you in services. And then if you need to use the index, you hit the indexes, okay? But the key is, for me, is part 6 of 230 is dealing with service equipment. And so this is talking about service equipment. I would have, if I had some experience, I would have jumped right to part 6 in 230 and start looking for those key things. When we say key things, we're looking for the bold information and things like that. Okay. Okay. Then we'll do some where we use the index here in a little bit and kind of give you an idea. I have a great video that calls How to Identify the Root of a Question. I encourage you to go to our website and watch it, or actually go to the youtube.com, the one you're on right now. There's tons of videos, and one of them is how I explain how to use a root to find the question, okay? But we'll talk about some of that. All right, so we got this one. Let me move this up a little bit so that y'all can actually see the responses too. All right, let's look at another one. Let me answer some questions. Yeah, Ron, the key is how to find them. That's the key. Eli, this is the 2017, but the questions are based on 2014 too, so you can use either or. That's kind of how we developed the program. The course itself is 2017, but these test questions are 2014 and 2017. It gives you both references. All right, let's do another question. All right. Oh my God, this one should be easy. Type NM cable is not permitted for use. A, in exposed work in dry locations. B, in type 5 construction. C, in any of these listed installations. And D, in wet locations. Okay, this one should be pretty simple for everybody here to find the answer to this one. Now, again, the chat doesn't overlay on these pages. It only overlays on that one page where I'm on there by myself. The chat doesn't come up over here. They come up on your screen. I have to forcibly make them overlay. Okay? So again, this one is going to tell me that it is obviously non-metallic sheath cable. And so since it's non-metallic sheath cable, where am I going to go to? I'm going to go to 334. Now again, 334 is so small. What's up, Danny? Welcome to the stream. 334 is so small that if I saw non-metallic sheath cable, I'm going right to 334. Right? That's where I'm going. And then I'm going to start hitting the bullets and look for something. And this is obviously, since we know that it's not permitted, that it's going to be under the uses not permitted tab. Right? Uses not permitted. Okay? So that makes it easy there. So I would go to 334 in my code book. If I was doing it, I could go in the back and look under non-metallic sheath cable. But once you get used to how things work in the code, then you could simply go to 334 and you'll see things that say use is not permitted and use is permitted. Okay. Well, here obviously it says that it can be in exposed or concealed work. That's not a problem. Okay. But over here where it says type NM right here, you'll notice that it says, and this is under the not permitted, by the way, 334.12. Okay. You'll see that it says right here, it's not permitted in wet or damp locations. Right there, right? So that's your answer to that one. That's our answer to that one. So that's pretty good. So we'll do that. And there it is, 334.12 B4. All right, let's do another question. And I'm just giving it time to scroll. So this says, in each bed location in a general care category 2 space of a hospital or similar healthcare facility shall be provided with a minimum of blank 125 volt single phase 15 or 20 ampere listed hospital grade receptacles. So the key here for me is obviously we know what article this is going to be in. Okay. We're dealing with patient bed locations, but we're dealing with the question about receptacles, right? You with me? So in this case, we know that it's in 517, but where is it in 517? Okay. So, hey, Jay, I need you to jump on Tim. He's kind of slacking in his fast track submittals. He's slowing down a little bit. You need to jump on him. Y'all jump on him. Okay? Brian's like all the way, hey, Brian. Brian's like all the way up on unit 15 or 16 or whatnot now. He's almost done. So hopefully go back and redo some of those chapters, Brian, just to make sure you're hammering it home since you got some time between test periods. All right, so anyway, we got some answers here. It looks like we have some answers here. Tim says D. Brian says D. But they have different references here, so I'm thinking it's just a typo for that. Okay, for me, and I'm going to do this one for the newbies. I'm going to do this for Vin and how we would dissect this one maybe. Okay, and this would be patient care location or patient bed location and receptacles. All those are triggers for me. So it's category 2, general care. All those things are in a healthcare facility. My mind tells me 517, but if I didn't know anything, I would go over to the NEC and I would go to the index. And when I go to the index, I'm going to go down to see what we have under healthcare facility. See if there's anything under healthcare. And looking down under healthcare again, y'all know how I feel about the PDF version here. So here's healthcare, and I scroll down healthcare, and I see requirements, and I'm looking over here, and I'm scrolling down. Receptacles. Okay. Well, if one thing it tells me is that at least I have, and y'all might not be able to see this behind my head there, at least it tells me that I know it's somewhere in 517. It could be 13, 16, 19, 31E, 42. It could be one of these. Okay? Any one of these. And my thing about using the code and using the index, which again is not the holy grail. If you don't have any idea of electrical work, and you just try to use the index to pass an exam, you're going to have a problem. You might luck out, but you're probably going to have a problem. All right? So anyway, this is where we need to be. Highlight that. So usually what I do in an exam, I write those down on a piece of paper. I write 517, and then I put 13, 16, 19, and 31. Just so I know I don't have to come back. All right? I don't want to come back after this. All right, so in my case, I'm going to go to the 517.13 first. And all this done fluidly on an exam, you're really moving quicker than you think. But I'm going to 517.13 first. And I'm writing all these down. Okay, equipment, wiring methods, doesn't help that for me. Then it was 516, isolated, didn't help me much. And once I'm here, here's the thing. Then you start hitting the bolds really quickly. Once you're here, your bolds. For example, once I did this, I moved from the lowest one up. I noticed patient bed location, and then, of course, general care. And now, since my question is about a number, right? A number, that's when I start looking for that, whether it's written out or whatever. So here I see it deals specifically with receptacles. All of this is triggers in my mind. Everything reminds me of this. So I'm looking here. And here they tricked you because they didn't put the number, so if you're not looking. But here you see it's a minimum of 8 receptacles. Okay? So that takes us, just moving slow, getting used to it. Y'all did much quicker than that. And you go back to the question. And it's 8. And there we go. 517.13. Okay? Easy peasy. All right. Y'all did that one really good. I see the questions here. It looks like everybody did pretty good. Danny, no, not 14. 8. Now, you might be in a code different. We're using 17 code, so it might have changed. But let's see here. Just looking around, see where Danny could be. 14, Danny, that is under B, and that is for critical care. That wouldn't be under general care. Our question was about general care. Okay? Important, Danny. Take the time to read the question, and that's a good point. Sometimes we we jump in questions so quickly on an exam, and sadly, once we submit it, we have a hard time being able to take it back, and I just don't want y'all to do that on an exam as well. So one of the tools that I teach people is basically looking at the question and putting in your mind. So do this test. Look at this question and put 4 things in your mind that you have to remember once you hit the code book, and keep running them in your mind. Patient bed location, category 2, general care, receptacles, hospital grade. That's 5 things. Once you start looking at the code book and you look at you go to the back index, you look where you need to be. Then once you get to the area where you think you need to be, because the index is not going to be the holy grail, then you start running through your mind, okay, what am I looking for? Patient bed location, I'm looking for hospital grade, I'm looking for receptacles, I'm looking for general care. All those things get repeated in your mind on that question. And then as you start to scan the bolds, the headers, then they'll stick out to you. And I wish that everything could be in the index, but sadly it's not. But again, we got there from this index, but not directly. Okay, not directly here to this exact thing. Okay. All right, let's do another one. All right, the accessible portion of abandoned supply circuits and interconnected cables located in an information technology equipment room shall be removed unless A, identified as type CMP, B, the conductors have a temperature rating of at least 90 degrees C, C, contained in a raceway, or D, tagged and identified as abandoned. Okay? All right, so this is asking us, so for me, on an exam, what am I looking for? What's the core thing I'm asking about? It's about abandoned and accessible portions of supply circuits and interconnection cables, ITE equipment room, okay? And then I'm using the answers to think of things like tagging, identified, or raceways, or whatever. So I've got an idea of what I'm looking for when I go looking this up, if you didn't already know the answer, okay? Okay? So in my mind, I might say, and I'm doing this again for the folks that are new, that have never done this before. When you go into the code, 645, for example, information technology is very short. So you probably could run right there and get it. But again, all of you that have done this for a long time, bear with me because we want to catch all of the new folks up to speed in how y'all do it. So give me a second. So 2 things. I might go into the index, right? And I might go to information technology, equipment, 645. And then I might look down and see, is there anything here? It says supply circuits and interconnecting cables, 645.5. Well, if I'm writing it down, that's what I'm writing on that little scrap piece of paper, that little Scrabble piece. I'm going to write down that 645 in .5. While I'm here, I'm going to also look and see if I see anything else, because I see something else with information technology. Okay? Because that's equipment, and I'm seeing if there's anything else that might be beneficial to me while I'm here. Okay? Okay. So for me, that's enough. I'm going to jump over into 645 for me, okay? Because I just needed to know where I needed to be. So on an exam, you're moving really fluid, and I would go to 645. Again, if you're going to take a test and you don't know anything but the index, then you're going to have a hard time. That's why you do something like our Fast Trax course, okay, in order to teach you these things, all right? And so 645.5, and let's get down to the one we were dealing with. Wait a minute. What did I say? I lost the one I was at, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, abandoned. There we go. Sorry about that. So it was G. So here it was, and I'll highlight it for those on the screen. So in this case, it says abandoned supply circuits and interconnect cables. It says the accessible portion of abandoned supply circuit and interconnecting cables shall be removed unless contained in a raceway. Okay. So notice that, a lot of people went to D. And the problem with the D was, some went to D. I think some went to D, did they? I thought I saw somebody go to D. Yeah, a couple early on went to D. And that would have been tagging and identified as abandoned. That's okay for low voltage. But we're talking specifically for the IT room stuff. So in that case, yeah, Brian's a star pupil. His scores are very, very good in the Fast Trax program. Okay, that's all you get, Brian. That's all the clapping you get. So in this one, obviously contained in a raceway. There it is, 645.5G. Very good. Very good. All right, let's do another one. Okay. Electrical equipment such as switchboards, panel boards, industrial control panels, and motor control centers that are located in commercial and industrial occupancies are required to be factory or field marked to warn blank of potential arc flash hazards. Is it A, qualified persons, B, electricians, C, authority having jurisdictions, or D, unqualified persons? Now, I know this one's going to be easy because you can do a process of elimination, okay? And it should be pretty simple how this works. But I want you to tell me where you find this in the code, not just the process of elimination. Okay? So see what you get. A, B, C, or D. Where do you go to find this in the code? Now, this might be one of the ones on an exam where you just nail it. Okay? And I just realized something. The good thing about the delay gives you folks enough time to see it before I answer it. So that's perfect. I guess it works out anyway. So Matt has given us a response. Okay. We got another response. Matt didn't tell me whether A, B, C, or D was the answer, but he gave me a response. So did Tim. Tim is sharp. Maybe that's why Tim isn't doing the Fast Trax. Tim, I'm going to keep picking on you tonight. Maybe you just haven't, I don't know what unit you're on, but you stalled out on me. I know, life happens. At least you came tonight. See, there you go. That means that's, what is it? What is that thing you do? Okay, yep, unit 9. All right. So we got a lot of people in here. Everybody seems to be agreeance that it is qualified persons. Obviously, it's not going to have the word electrician in it because there's hazards to everybody. Obviously, the authority having jurisdictions, again, inspectors, yeah, but again, it's everybody, right? And then unqualified persons, well, those people have to be protected as well, but they shouldn't even be into the equipment, right? Okay? There you go, Tim. Don't want to peak too soon. You hear that, Brian? Tim doesn't want to peak too soon. Y'all are in competition. All right. Because Brian's peaking. He's up there already. All right. So at any rate here, obviously this one's a no-brainer. It's to be qualified person. But again, when I'm looking for this one here, obviously I would look and see these are no-brainer in that application. All right. So again, interesting enough, let's click on this one, qualified person. And it is 110.16 in the 2014, 110.16a in the 2017 code. We give you both references. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay, I'm looking at my streams. First time I've ever done this, kind of monitoring it without having to do it online. Okay. I probably should have been doing that all along. All right. Let's do another one. Y'all are doing really good. All right. Look at this one. Transfer equipment of optional standby systems. That should be a trigger right away. When I see optional, that should trigger right away. I should know. If you've been in the Fast Trax or you've been in the course, you should know right away what article we're dealing with here. Okay, so transfer equipment of optional standby systems shall be suitable for the intended use and designed and installed so as to prevent the inadvertent interconnection of blank sources of supply in any operation of the transfer equipment. Obviously, we have to have it ability so that it can't connect to the utility as well as to the maybe the generator at the same time. That would be pretty bad, right? So there's an interconnection there, okay? So is it interconnect the primary and the secondary, AC and DC, normal and alternate, or input and output? And where do we find this information? Now, to me, again, on an exam, I'm not going to the index because I know that the section that this is dealing with is not very big, and I know what article it is just based on my experience, okay? And I am, so again, so we know whether we're dealing in, remember now, there's 3 different types. There's emergency, there's legally required standby, and there's optional. This here is optional. 3 different ones. So the generator that you have at your house, that is always going to be an optional. There's no such thing as an emergency generator or legally required at a dwelling. They don't care that you have a ventilator on your mother-in-law up on the 2nd floor. They don't care. Okay? Those are always optional. Okay? So remember, 700 is emergency, 701 is legally required, and 702 is optional. So for me, I would have known 702. So let's do that together. I'll go here in my code book, and I'm just going to, if I was on an exam, I'm boom, boom, right to optional, and let's see how quickly we find it. Now, remember this technique called scanning? What are we looking for? We're looking for something about the transfer switch and that type of thing. So check this out. So what I'll do is I hit the bolds, and we say bolds for the newbies. That is optional, capacity. We're looking at all this information, as you go through it. Here's the transfer equipment, okay? And everything that we're really going through, okay, are designed for us to move through this and be able to find the answer and scroll through and whatever, okay? So let's see here. I'm just kind of gave you that much, okay? Now let's see what, and you look through it and see what you find. Okay, you see all the information here. I'm scrolling it for you. Let me look and see if anybody's answered it yet. Okay. And we do have an answer, just so everybody knows. So what I'm looking for is the question is, and let's look at the question real quick. Transfer equipment, optional standby. Obviously, the answer has to be in the transfer equipment. It has to be, right? So, what am I looking for here? Transfer equipment. It says transfer equipment shall be suitable for the intended use and designed, installed so as to prevent the inadvertent interconnection, that looks very familiar, of normal and alternate source. Well, let's look back at our question. I see the answer right there, normal and alternate source. So some of you got that absolutely 100% correct. So let's click it. 702.5. Very good. All right. So, sorry I can't control your internet speed. I can see it on mine. All right, so there you go. That was, so the key for me on an exam on this one is the picking the core root things. We knew it was optional standby. Then we knew that it was transfer equipment. That narrowed it down quite a bit. I didn't have to go back to the index for that, okay? So again, that's why it's important when I tell people to study for an exam, I'm literally mean this for you new people that coming in. Study with a purpose. Don't just grab this thing right here. Don't just grab this thing. You could tab this thing out until the cows come home. The reality is, that's not going to help you if you don't study for a purpose. I'm going to do this until I'm blue in the face. And that means that you literally study and learn the articles so that you can say, for example, if you're sitting there at home, you ought to be able to do this. You ought to be able to go 200 grounded conductors, 210 branch circuits, 215 feeders, 225 outside branch circuits and feeders, okay? 230 services, 240 overcurrent protected devices, okay? 242 over voltage devices, okay? 300 general use, general requirements. 310 wiring methods, conductors. Chapter 3 wiring methods. That's my dog. 410 luminaires. 408 short branch circuit. 408 is panel boards, switchboards, switch gear. You should be able to go through it like that. 500 hazardous locations. 501 class 1. 502 is class 2, 503 it's class 3. You ought to be able to go in 725 is remote and signaling circuits. You ought to be able to go 800 communication. You ought to be able to go to 900, chapter 9 is tables. You ought to be able to low as 90 is administrative, 100 definitions. You ought to be able to think of the different things, 250 grounding, okay, things like that. All those type of things become so easy that then you get to transition into things like, well, what about key sections? Okay, so when I get into 250, I start to remember, okay, grounding electroconductors, 250.50, different types of them, 250.52. Grounding electroconductors, the different 250.66 is the installation practice for it, sizing conductors for it. 250.102C1 is the grounded conductor, also for sizing supply side bonding jumpers, system bonding jumpers, things like. Once you start getting it, then the next thing you know is when you look at a question like this, it jumps out at you, right? It just stares you in the face. I knew right away 702, so I'm like, and then you start to realize when you're studying with a plan that 702 is not very big, 645 is not very big when it comes to information technology, okay? 680 for swimming pools, that's pretty big, but at least you know where to go. 682, natural bodies of water, okay? So you start really 690, PV, 692, large-scale PV. You start really getting them, okay? 334, non-metallic sheet cable. 338, SE cable. You with me? 340 is UFB. They start rolling off your tongue. 358 EMT, 344 rigid, or all right, okay, I might have that wrong. Anyway, you get it, right? At least it gets you in the area. You with me? Okay, that's the kind of thing. Over time, it just gets so much easier, and then it becomes, once you get out in the real world after the exam, you keep it going, because when you're on a job site, you don't make mistakes. And we don't get paid to do things twice. We get paid to do things once. So you always should continually keep refreshing your code knowledge because it saves you money in the long run. Plus, you learn different ways that you can do things that might save you money, but it's code compliant still. Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. All right, so let's do another question. Yeah, that's true. Brian made a great statement. Once you start getting good at knowing all the references and being able to move through the code, the index starts to get less important. It really does. It's there for you if you need it. But your knowledge just starts really getting so much better. And that's why you study with a plan. That's the key. Don't listen to what anybody else ever tells you. I can teach you in a weekend. They are full of crap. Study with a plan. Okay? All right. Enough of that. All right. So let's do the next one here. In regards to new outdoor installations of permanently installed swimming pools, luminaires installed above the pool or within 5 feet horizontally from the inside wall of the pool shall be installed at a height not less than blank above the maximum water level of the pool. Now, I serve on that code making panel, so this one's pretty easy for me. But one thing's for sure, okay? One thing's for sure, it tells me where I've got to be. Right now, I know that I'm in swimming pools. I know that, Now I know if I learn swimming pools, then I also can start to learn the sections. Dot 22 for things like receptacles and lighting, and you start to learn all these things. Dot 26, which is the equipotential bonding grid around the pool, and all this kind of, you'll get it. It comes. It's just natural. It takes you time. Study with the practice, okay? All right. So in this one right here, we would know that we're dealing with lighting, the outdoor installations, and we're dealing with luminaires, right? Luminaires. That's the question, luminaires. All right. So for me, I would go, if I didn't know 680, instead of looking through all of the parts in it, I might go to the National Electrical Code if I didn't know, and I'd go to index, and I would go to swimming pools. Okay. And I probably passed it, but again, y'all know how I am about these indexes. I mean, how this PDF works. Let's see here. Hey, y'all hold on for a second. Sorry about that. That was my son heading out. All right. I didn't see him at all today. Okay. My family is grown up around me, and I've spent the majority of my life teaching code, and my family is grown up and moved away, and anyway, story of my life. All right. I'm zooming around trying to find swimming pools. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I've got swimming pools over here, and for me, I'm going down and I'm looking at luminaires. And here you go. Questions about luminaires. There's our answers right there. If I was in the exam, I'd write 680 at the top on that dry erase thing. And I would put dot 22, dot 23, and dot 24. I'd write those down. Okay. And I put B, A, I'd write all this down. Then I'd go straight to my code book right away. It's, again, if I didn't know, and I would go to 22, and I'd go to B, and there is luminaires, lighting outlets, and suspended ceiling fans, okay? All right, so under this, and I think earlier I might have said receptacles, but yeah, it's still under 22. Okay, I wasn't totally off. So remember, new installations, that was part of the question. In outdoor pool areas, blah, 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 extended 5 feet horizontally from the inside wall of the pool shall be installed at a height not less than 12 feet above the maximum water level of the pool. All right? There you go. There's our reference. Boom. I see a lot of answers there on the screen. Y'all are getting too good for this. So we'll go to 12. And there it is, 6A.22B1. Y'all are getting quick. All right? I'm getting too good. I'm getting too good for these things anymore, I guess. All right, let's do the next one. Okay. The next one is an improved method of protecting an equipment installed in a Class 1 Zone 0 hazardous location is. So, remember, this one's unique because this one's talking about a Class 1 Zone 0. Okay? So, oil immersion, purge and pressure, encapsulation, or powder filling. All right, so first thing I know is I'm dealing with a hazardous location. That's what I'm identifying. All right, now, protection of equipment. That's a strong statement, right? So protection of equipment is something. So I'm in a hazardous location. I'm in Class 1 Zone 0, and I'm looking for protection of equipment. Okay, so how would I look this one up if it was me? All right. First thing I'd probably, if I didn't know where to go, I would go to the NEC, and I'm just going to use the index for those that are new. And I'm going to go under, well, the first thing I could do is I'm already here. So you notice it says Class 1, Class 2 location, see hazardous. So that would have pushed me into the hazardous. Okay, so I'm going to go down to hazardous, see what we get. I just don't want people to think that the index is the holy grail. Okay, I just want to make sure you know that it's helpful, but it is not always going to be the final. thing, right? Okay. All right, so this says zone equipment 502.6, but this is dealing with class 2, and if we look back at the question, it was class 1 zone O. Okay, so let's get back here. So it's class 1. Let's see what we got. Here's class 1 zone O. Look familiar? Right there. Okay. So classification of locations, class 1 zone O, 505.5. I'm going to look down here real quick and see protection techniques. Because remember the word protection? That was in there. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'll scroll up a little bit. Protection. So notice, here's a tip. Notice that's 505.8. And the other one that we saw over here was 505.5. They are so close together, right? That in my mind, they're both going down on the table. I'm writing those down if I'm in the exam. Real quick, I'm doing 505.8, 505.5, and then I'm going, and now I'm remembering those real important phrases, protection. But this one obviously says protection techniques, so we'll see what that is. So I'm going to 505. Now again, for those that are new to the stream, remember that nothing takes the place of learning the code, okay? Nothing takes the place of learning the code. So this is just a class to help you, but at the end of the day, you start to learn the code and everything like that will be beneficial to you overall. Okay, and I'm just clicking through here and going to my 505.8, see if that helps. And I'll see if anybody else came up with that because it'll stay on the screen. And let's see here, this 505. There we go, protection. Okay. Techniques, different techniques. So again, let's look. We're still here. This is where I've got here. Okay, where I'm at, and let me go back to see what we've got as far as everybody on the screen. Okay, I see some answers here. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, very good. So let's kind of go back here. So we see 508 protection technique. Okay, and we have an A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so notice that all of these have either class 1 zone O's and 1, blah, blah, blah. This one doesn't have any O in it. Okay, this one does. This is intrinsically safe. Okay, and this one doesn't have any O in it, zone O. This one doesn't have any zone O in it. I just kind of noticed that as I'm looking, right? And then encapsulation says, the protecting team shall be permitted for equipment in class 1, zone 0, blah, 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 which is identified. All right, so if we go back and look at the question, we have encapsulation, powder filling, purge and pressure, and oil immersion. Now, interesting enough, if we looked at oil immersion, notice it's no O in there. It's not an option. Powder filled, there's no O, zone O in there. Or 0, I guess zone 0. There's no zone 0. So one of the ways on exam is, another interesting thing is to use the answers to help qualify the question. And it might take a second, okay? But that's why you're going to learn, for those that are new, that's why you're going to go through it in 3 waves. You're going to do your exam questions. You're going to answer the ones you know right off the bat. You just know because you've been working on a program and you've been working with a plan. That's going to buy you some extra time. Then the ones that you check mark on your online system or the system you're doing at the test center, then you're going to have your second wave. And the second wave is going to be where you go through it and answer the ones that you need a little more time. And then, of course, then you go through the third wave is after you build up a good amount of time, okay? And, of course, there's more details to that wave technique, and I've been teaching that since early 2000s. You spend no more than a minute and a half on the first wave. I wouldn't even spend that. I'd spend less than a minute because those are just ones that you should know right away, okay? So I shudder to say you probably don't need to spend more than 10, 15 seconds on the first wave. On the second wave, you need to spend a minute and a half at least on that one. If you can't answer it, you mark it, you go on to the next question. You don't dwell on it. You move through it. The third wave is, by that time, you should have built yourself a good amount of extra time So now you can take your time and try to look at these questions, making sure you give yourself enough time. If you're in an exam that only that has both lookup questions as well as exam, as well as as well as calculations and lookup questions, then when you're dealing with those, save the calculations until the end. Okay? Save those until the end. All right? Okay. If it's echoing, then you need to turn off something. Okay? It's not echoing. It shouldn't be echoing. All right. So let's kind of go back to the thing here. All right. So we'll choose encapsulations. The only one really can give it. And that's 505.8G. Very good. Okay. Let's do the next one. All right. So in this one, it says emergency controls for unattended self-service motor fuel dispensing facilities. Okay, so that should tell you, guys that are familiar with this, should tell you something right away where it's at. Requires one emergency control to be located between 20 feet and 100 feet of the fuel dispenser. The additional emergency controls shall be, so at least I have to have one between 20 and 100 feet. An additional emergency control shall be located at the boundary of the Class 1 location, within sight of the dispensers, installed at each group of dispensers, or installed in every dispenser. Which do you think the answer is on this one? This is a very, very good exam question right here. Okay? Ariel, the Fast Trax program can help you. It's designed to help you, but you got to be willing to put in the time. If you're just flipping through this book right here and you think you're going to learn it to get an exam, or you end up buying somebody's $1,200 course with DVDs and some books and you think you're going to do it, no. You have to tickle the senses. You have to be able to read it, hear it. You need to take a lot of exams, and you need to use the questions like this in the Fast Trax program or some other program that's like this to look up the questions and dissect them. That's the secret. That is the secret. Okay? The Fast Trax is available at the masterthenec.com. Somebody can type that in there for them. www.masterthenec.com. That's the site, and go under courses, and you can you'll see what the Fast Trax is all about. We also have a demo of the Fast Trax that you can watch on our YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go watch it, and you can watch the demo. Actually, if you go look at the online, the demo's already on the page where it talks about the Fast Trax. Okay, and there's other courses out there. So again, I'm just saying, whatever you use, study with a plan. Go in with a plan of attack. Okay. All right. So we've got a couple answers here. They all seem to be in the same area. Okay. All in the same area. All right. And thanks, Kevin. There's I doubt I know any educators out there that probably put in as much time as I do free to help people learn. It isn't about just selling courses to me. That's why I do all these things. I really want to help people learn the code, and it helps you in everything in life. Electrician Live was not supposed to be code driven. It was supposed to do other things to help you in life, management or leadership. And I'm excited about that, because hopefully I'm going to be able to do some of those with a partner, with a guy who that's what he does. And so hopefully we'll work something out. But he's I talked to him today. He's a great guy. All right, so let's see here. We've got a bunch of answers on here. So again, the first thing that I should have noticed is it's motor fuel dispensing facility. All right. So for the guys that are in the code, that's a trigger. Motor fuel dispensing facility. When I'm in motor fuel dispensing facility, some of the things that when I'm scanning them, I'm looking for, and that is the 20 feet to 100 feet. That's going to cause me to look at those numbers, because 20 and 100 is usually going to be the number, and that's going to be something that I'm focusing on, and it's going to take me to that. That's called where you scan. That's a scanning technique. All right. And also I'm looking for additional emergency controls. I'm looking for the word emergency controls, all of that type of thing. But if I didn't know how to do it, I would go to the index. Even though the index, again, is not the Holy Grail, and you should know, and I'll tell you, you should know that there's an article for this, and it's not all that big, but let's go to motor fuel dispensing and just look and see what it tells us. Kind of keeping in tune with what we usually do. It's kind of what we usually do when we're all working together here. All right, so here's motor fuel dispensing right here. Okay. Now, notice this tells me it's 514. So when I'm preparing for an exam, or when I'm in the exam, that's the first thing that I would write down on that little scratch paper. 514. Okay. Then I look at disconnect. So 514.11 is talking about the disconnects. Okay. So I'm writing .11 down. Now, while I'm here, I'm still going to scan and see if anything else in here that might be pertinent to the question. And I don't see anything really. So that's my 5. And another thing that I always like to do, I look real quickly at the number of sections, like 11, 3, 2. And then I come up here and look at 16, 21, 20. It's not a very big, okay? It's not a real big article, right? So that tells me that even if I don't directly get there by the question, by the number that I'm looking for, then I know that I can start immediately doing my bold scanning, looking for some of my triggers, right? My root terms. So I go to 514.11 because that's the one that seems to be more impactful to me. That's when you'll realize that there actually is a 514. And I'm going to 514.11. Of course, you have this table too. Okay. All right. And it might be beneficial or not. But let's go to 514.11. And here's the circuits. And you remember what I said about triggers? This right here almost stood out to me instantly. I don't know about you, but that 20 feet, 100 feet thing, that was one of my triggers. The next trigger that I'm looking for, I don't have a lot of time on an exam to read the whole thing, but I do have time to look at certain things and scan it, okay, and see what I've got. All right. Okay, so that's the kind of things that I'm looking at for the equipment. Now, the other thing that I'm looking for was what? What was the other term? Okay. The other term was an additional. So here it says where more than one emergency shutoff. Oh, hold on here. When more than one emergency shutoff device connector is provided, all devices shall be interconnected. Okay. So that gives me some of that information. Now, the question was about for unattended self-service motor vehicles. So unattended, that's important. So I'll go back to my question. And I get all this stuff, and it say, about additional emergency shutoffs and dispensing, all that good stuff. Okay, and it says we have to have one. And then I look up at unattended. It says, an unattended devices or disconnects shall be readily accessible to patrons, and at least one device or disconnect shall be readily accessible at each group of dispensing devices on an individual island. Okay. So, we got that one. So let's see what we've got here. Oops. Let's see what we got. Let me real quick before we answer this. Let's go back to our browser. Hold on. Let's see what we got. All right. So we got some answers here. We've got Tim. I got Tim Manson. Hey, Tim. And let's see. And we got, okay. So let's see here. Now, see, it says the additional one. And so let's see. Let me see. All right. Everybody seems to have the same one. Oh, before I answer this, are y'all saying that you think it's, which number do you have? Because I have some people that say A and C. I want to see who all's ultimately right. Some of you say, let me look real quick. Brian, I will say this: y'all all are exactly in the right place, so that's okay. What else? I just want to see A, C, C. Okay, everybody seems to. Okay, everybody says C. So let's go here. Correct. And for those that are new to the course, Down here, it tells you what page it's on as well. So that should correspond to 403, but that's a hardbound version, okay? So again, unattended, okay? And here's the thing. Oops, here. At least one additional device shall be readily accessible to each group of dispensing on an individual island. Okay? Oops. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Here's what I wanted to show you. Sorry about that, guys. Right here. At least one additional device shall be readily accessible to each group of dispensing devices on an individual island. Right there. Okay? So we go back to the question. Again, it says the additional emergency. Again, so our options were, that didn't have anything to do with it. That didn't have anything to do with it. Installed on each group of at each group of dispensers. There you go. Okay. And let's see here. And the biggest difference in this one that I see people that got it wrong or did get it wrong is this. Identify this. Is let me get rid of this right here. That word. Group. So you have an island, you have 1 or 2 or 3 dispensing units, and they're considered a group. And you have the one shut down right there at that group, and it should shut them down. Okay? Anyway, that's good. So the point was making you, and the delay is weird, the point is making you go back and forth and read it. But the group is definitely the word that triggered that one. Let's look at another one. Okay. Raceways approved for direct burial only where concrete encased shall require a concrete envelope not less than blank inches. Okay. What do you think? A, 3 inches. B, 2 inches. C, 4 inches. D, 6 inches. Now, if I'm preparing for an exam and you're doing an exam, first thing that I noticed that we're talking about is burial. So obviously it's talking about underground, right? Direct burial. So that should trigger something, okay? And again, making sure that you're not guessing. Individual who shall remain silent. So you got 3, 2 inches, 4 inches, and 6 inches. So obviously, to me, the trigger here is burial only. You don't see the word underground, but we obviously know burial only, so we kind of get it. And so we want to think, so how will we find this one? So this is direct burial. And so in my mind, there you go. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I should know that this is 300.5, right? I mean, I know that it is. And so since I've got inches, and then I know that I'm also going to be at table 300.5. Now, if you've been through the program, that's pretty easy. But if you didn't know that, then you would look under either in the back, you might look under depth of cover, you might look under burial, you might look of underground. All those things could be triggers for you to go look at it, okay? Right? All right, so for our case, we know that it is 300.5 is the starting point for this. And of course, 300.5, you'll see here, right here is underground installations. Of course, direct burial, whatnot, raceways, I'm basically going to send you to table 300.5. Don't forget we have a bunch of other good information here that talks about everything. You see, I was teaching a lesson on that, so I got this all highlighted. But you're right, absolutely, we're at this table. Interesting thing is, this is depth of cover. These are the locations. If it does, and none of these apply, then you use the first one. All locations, if it doesn't specify any of these down here. So if you have a condition that doesn't meet any of these down here on the left, then basically you're going to use this top line. Okay. Now these, since we're talking a raceway for a direct burial, Okay. And let's see here. Did it say what type of raceway? It says raceways approved direct burial. Okay, so this is generic raceway. So we know that this is talking about something that's generic to all of these raceways. So then we have the note down here, and here it says, note 2, raceways approved for burial only, where concrete case shall require concrete envelope not less than 2 inches thick. Well, there you go. And there's your answer. For those that all said B, there you go, note 2. It's just that easy. Perfect. Let's see, I'm a plumber by trade, working in the city of Portland. Inspector, getting certified in electrical. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. Sure, that's what I'm here for, brother. I'm here to help you learn any way I can. All right, so very good. I will say this. I probably have the best students in this industry that come and do, not just because you do the fast tracks, because you got people in here that aren't in the fast tracks. But you can always tell when people are really dedicated. There's a lot of people that'll go to these online training things or these online forums or these webinars, and everybody's trying to tit for tat people. They're trying to bang their chest and make somebody think they know more than the other guy. And I'm not all about that crap. That's why I don't go on all those forums. It's all about learning. I learn something new every day, every single day. And I like to learn something from everybody, whether it's personality traits, professionalism. Hey, I looked rough today. I had a ratty looking 5 o'clock shadow, but for y'all, I went up and shaved. Okay? I'm serious. Now, I didn't do it when I did some videos earlier. I looked really rough. If you go look at any of my videos. Anyway, let's see. Yes, Adam, this is an example of one of the tests that are in the fast tracks. Okay? So, yeah. Okay? Yeah, 6 inches for voltage under 30, but that wasn't the question, Danbo. Stop trying to justify it, Danny. You got it wrong. Move on. Okay, next one. Given. It says, type UF cable is to be used as direct burial residential branch circuits of 120 volts. For y'all that are still here, don't change the page in your code book, by the way. It says the conductors are GFCI protected and overcurrent protection is rated at 20 amps. The cables do not cross under any driveway or concrete. What is the minimum permitted burial depth of the cable? Don't guess. Look it up. 18, 12, 6, or 24. So remember all these things. It's UF. It's residential. It's GFCI protected. It's 20 amps, but it does not cross under a driveway. What do you think? I know, Danny, I'm just teasing you. You know I like to tease you. There's a few of you that really allow me to tease you, and that's cool, because I like to do that. Okay, so I got some answers here. I got 2 different answers here. Okay, so I've got two different answers, so we'll look at it and see what we got. Oh, I should say this also. Hold on, let me. You know what? Daggone it. I don't have it on this phone, and I don't want to mess up my thing. I want to shout out to my Patreons. Danny is, again, a Patreon VIP. Thank you, Danny. And there's other people, and I apologize tonight for not having it on my screen and not having, because I'm using that phone. I'll learn my lesson. I'll use a different phone. I've got 2 different phones. But I want to thank the Patreon people for supporting that. We're up to Article 200 now. So we did Article 90. We did 110. We did, what did we do? We did, we did 200. We did 100. Okay, so we worked our way up. It's quite a few videos already. I do a couple a month, and you should also have access to, if you're in a VIP, you have access to my newsletter. I just put out another edition for you. on there as well. Okay, so I got a bunch of answers here. Everybody says 12 inches. Let's go to see the code. Well, we know this is the depth again, so we know it's obviously going to be depth of cover. And I can read this enough to know that this, if I was doing this on an exam, it says burial depth. So that's the depth of cover. Just in green, if there's certain things you want to remember, depth of cover, just remember 300.5. Depth of cover, depth of cover. Okay, all right. So anyway, let's go to the NEC. And look, I didn't have to leave that page. All right, so obviously column 4 is the condition. See all this stuff here? All that stuff is definitely in play. Okay? Now, let's look. Is it under a building? No. Is it below a trench, 2 inch? No. Is there a minimum of 4 inch concrete slab? No. Is it under a street? No. Is it under one family dwelling? A driveway? No, but that would be irrelevant because it's still that. Is it under an airport? Well, I hope not. So yes, so the actual answer, the best answer here, because this obviously doesn't go under a driveway, is that none of the locations here apply. So the answer's got to be 12 inches. Okay. Now the beautiful thing is, if I go under a concrete, let's say concrete for like a driveway or something like that, then here's interesting. Down here, you see it's 1 and 2 family dwelling driveways, and it's still only 12 inches. You with me? But if I go here, and if that happens to be concrete slab, and when we say no vehicle traffic, okay, then I would argue that it doesn't mean it's a driveway is not vehicle traffic. You park your vehicle on it, okay? And I've argued this many times with people that I would let it be reduced down to 6 inches. It's not in a raceway, it's direct barrel, okay? Because it's protected by that slab, okay? Down here, there it says 1 and 2 family dwelling driveway and outdoor parking areas and used only for dwelling related purposes. You notice that it's 12 inches. That's your best choice on an answer on an exam, but I have argued this one right here, and here's what I end up having to argue for people. Does it have vehicle traffic? Okay, but that's just Paul challenging the authority. The best answer here should be 12 inches. Okay, so let's, and here's the one good thing is we'll see what goes on with the question. So we'll do 12 inches, and there you go. Okay. All right, so let's do another question. All right. Oh, goody. Goody. We get to do some, at least it looks like we're going to have to do some calculation here. We got our calculator. I got it. Hold on. In case we need it, I've got it right here. Okay. It says, where exceptions are not to be taken into consideration, so no exceptions, where a feeder supplies a continuous lighting load of 39 amperes and a motor load of 24 amperes, the feeder must have an ampacity of at least what? That's a good one. Now, it's a feeder, it's continuous load, and it's supplying a motor, and it did not give us very good information for this motor, I will say. So we'll see how this works out. I'll let y'all work this out. I'll work it out, but again, we'll see what we're doing with this one here. So I'm going to do some math, qualifying math here. That's what I like to tell people. It's qualifying math, okay? Because it's giving me a motor load. It's just giving me a motor load of 24. So we're doing a feeder, okay? Okay, the feeder must have an amp, so we're sizing a feeder. All right, now, we do know it's a motor load because it said it's a motor load. I'm getting 2 different answers now. All right, so it did say it was a motor load. So I'm going to do what I think, and we'll see what we're doing. Okay. Oops, hold on. I see y'all all. Wait a minute. Hold on. Gotta find my pen here. Okay. All right. I see some good answers here on the screen. I'm seeing some good stuff. So, but I'm seeing an awful lot. Can you use a calculator during exams? Absolutely. They would not expect you to be able to do calculations without an exam. I don't know of any state that wouldn't let you use an exam. Let you use the calculator. I would. Wow, that would suck. And you know, I just don't know that any of them that would do that. Okay. All right, let's see what some answers here. All right, so we've got some answers here. I'm going to share my answer here. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see what we got. D, A, A, B. All right, let's see. Who am I going to go with? I'll just pick somebody, and then we'll work it out. Now, if you watch my motor video and things like that, you probably get it. 1 and 3. 1 and 3, I mean. 1 and 4. I don't think there's only but one choice, guys. All right, let's go with, I'm going to go with Tim. Tim says it's D. And let me go with Tim here. So Tim says D. Boom. So, you want to see how I did it? Hold on. You ready? See that? 30 and 48.75. So one way to do this is do the 39 at 125% and do the 24 at 125%, or add them together and do them both at 125%. Same math. Okay? All right. And the code references, again, on this one, as you can see them all here. But again, it wasn't exactly what you think, because each one of these, again, because it was a feeder, is the key for this one for me. And I want to show you that so that you can you understand why I said that, because you know motors, you get it, because that's where you got the 430.22 that's going to say 125. But then you also know that the other load is considered a continuous load. So what did we do? So one way I would be in feeders, and I'm going to show you. Let's see here. It should be at the beginning. Yeah, okay. Right here. So here it is on the screen. It says, where a feeder supplies continuous loads and any combination of continuous and non-continuous loads, the minimum feeder conductor size shall be the allowable ampacity of not less than a non-continuous load plus 125% of the continuous load. That means a non-continuous load means 100% of whatever the load was. 125 is the 125% of the continuous load. Okay? So that's where I got the requirements for that. And then, of course, motors, because all it did was give us, this is important, because this question on an exam, because it only gave me a value of 24 amps, there was not a whole lot of other math that I could really do for that. It wasn't no horsepower. There wasn't any of this crap. I was pretty much had to go with what they told me. So, again, it wasn't a nameplate. This was a value they gave me. And so since I know that the motors get sized at 125%, and I know that I'm going to size my load, so basically I take value, each one of them I can do it 125%, or I can take them, add them together and do it 125%. Okay? Both of them, incidentally, were being treated as continuous loads. So either way you wanted to work it, it still works out the same. Okay? That's the beautiful thing about it, is there's multiple ways to always skin a cat. Don't skin cats. I'm a cat lover. So there we go. All right, let's do another one. That was a good one. That's a good one. That was a good one. All right, so I can see what some people might do on that one. What people might do is they might take the continuous load at 125 and just simply take the motor at the 24. I can see where that, and don't you think maybe that on the exam, that probably is one of the answers Probably is. And then you go see it and you go, oh, that's the answer. And you check it and you move on, right? I can see that happening all the time. We're certainly going to give you a plausible answer on every test. And it's going to be based in. And so when we sit there and write exams, by the way, we will answer things in a way that we know that the person taking the exam might answer it, right? And then we're going to put that answer on there because we want you to, if it looks like it's a plausible answer. So when we're writing exams, the person for the PSI or whoever's doing it, the first thing they'll say is, give me all plausible answers. And then we'll pick them and put them in there because it's not a trick. They're not trying to trick you. They're just trying to, that type of thing. Let's see here. I didn't even read it. Y'all are way ahead of me. Let's see here. Type AC cable shall be permitted. Use is permitted. Use is not permitted. This is a permitted one, so we know that it's in section 10 of 320. And if you're used to doing your flashcards or used to doing by the way, fast track people, y'all got flashcards. You can make new ones all you want on any topic. You make them on the fly if you want. No longer do you have to get the index cards and do it. They're all built into the system. That's a neat thing too. All right, so obviously we know this is going to be uses permitted. So that's dot 10, saves us a lot of time. All we need to know is what article it is. And again, that's where you have to put the work in there. You'll know that is Article 320, and you'll be able to go to it. So where is it permitted? We're exposed to corrosive conditions in damp locations, for feeders, in wet locations. Okay, well, it's AC cable, all right? So, probably not going to work here, not going to work here. There's 3 places I can pretty much tell you it ain't going to work. All right? Okay? So, again, we should know this one. Correct. Feeders. Okay? Now, be careful because AC cable, it can be a feeder, but again, it'd be pretty small because AC cable doesn't go up but to 1 gauge. But it still can be a feeder. Still can be a feeder. All right, next one. We're moving along here. Okay, what is the full load current FLC rating on a secondary side terminal of a 75 kVA 3-phase transformer having a 277 480 volt primary and a 208Y 120 volt secondary? Great question. Probably kind of question you will see on an exam. Beautiful. All right. I was FCC. I was in FCC. Yeah. All right. EMT support. 358.30 supports. All right. So here. So what do we got here, guys? So first thing we know that 75 kVA. Remember that little tip I always tell you? I always want to convert this into VA, the total amount. So the first thing I do is 75. The K equals 1,000. So it's 75,000 VA. I write that down first. It's the first thing I do, right? Just walk you through this. So it's asking about the full load current rating of the secondary, not the primary, but the secondary. So the secondary is a 208 120, right? So it is 3-phase. So I've got 208. So there's a shortcut to the 208, right? Because it is 3-phase. So what do? What's the shortcut? Well, first thing that I'll do is 208 times 1.732. Remember, 1.732 is the square root of 3, which is 3-phase. Just remember that. Incidentally, if you're in an exam, just remember, if anything's 480 primary, use 831. If it's 208 secondary, use 360. And that's going to get you close enough to your answer that you'll be able to answer it. Now, there is 360.256, but you can drop the 0.256 and just deal with 360 or 831 if it's 480. Okay? All right, so in this case, I've got 75,000 divided by what? 360. Right? So of these questions here, the most logical choice, and let me look at the answers here. Very good. And it's 208.33 because we use 360 instead of the 360.255. So you drop the 0.3 0.5 and under, you drop anyway. But again, it's the closest plausible answer. Remember that on the exam. If it doesn't get you and something's off, get you your closest probable answer. And in this case, 208. And there you go. Now, the reason that this is 208.18 versus mine is 208.33 is because it used the whole value. See, 360.25. Not going to be necessary on an exam. Just get you close enough. But if you want to use it all the way out, use it. Then that's absolutely right. So if you're doing a primary, so guys, tell me, what's the primary current on this one? Somebody tell me what the primary current on this is the same question. We just did the secondary. What's the primary? Oops, turned my calculator off. Oops, I did it again. Y'all be quicker than me. Absolutely right, Matt. 90 amps. So this has a primary of 90 and a secondary, okay? Okay, primary of 90 and a secondary of 208. Absolutely. Very good. Excellent. Perfect. And to be honest with you guys, that's close to the extent that most of them will have with transformers. It might teach you to understand 450.3 in the tables and primary protection at 250% and 125 secondary, or 125 primary, and things like that, and no protection secondary if you only have primary protection. And I cover all that in my transformer videos. It's a six-part I am cheated. 6-part series. It is, people send me questions all the time and say, Paul, do us something on transformers. Do something on transformers. I already have a series on transformers, and it's pretty extensive. It's 6 parts. I even teach you secondary conductors and 10-foot rules and 25-foot rules and all that kind of stuff in that series. So go watch it. It's over on our YouTube channel. I don't want to regurgitate it. Just go watch it. I'm going to be updating a lot of these things. Sadly, the 2020 stuff is going to be over on our Patreon. So, again, I'll still giving you content, and I'll still be doing this kind of stuff, but most of the new stuff is going to be over on Patreon. Okay, got to pay the bills. All right, let's do this one. Calculation. Whoop, whoop. Hold on. We got a calc. Be aware. Don't let this one throw you. It says, where a size 8.3 AWG with ground copper NM cable is installed in an attic of a dwelling unit where the ambient temperature exceeds 130 degrees Fahrenheit during the summer months, the conductors have a maximum allowable ampacity of. Now, this is an interesting question, because I guarantee you that people that run NMB and SE cables and attics and all this do not think about how hot it gets in those attics. So this is this is a pretty good question, but I guarantee you that most people don't think about this. But if it's on an exam, you're supposed to think about it. But, I guarantee you a lot of people don't think about that temperature in those attics. Jason, again, the primary, you just simply take 75,000 and divide it by 831, which is 480 times 1.732, the square root of 3. And so all I did was tell you the shortcut. Shortcut is when you get a 480 calculation and it's 3-phase, just remember 831. If you get a 3-phase calculation and it's 208 volts, just remember it's 360. That's just shortcuts. Otherwise, you could just do the whole thing, the math, if you want. Okay, so here we have NMB. We're sticking it in an attic. Okay. Now, this is interesting, and this could go either way. And I'm going to have to tell you, this could be based on the author, because I'm a stickler for something. It says NM cable, but it doesn't say NMB. So we're going to have to assume maybe that he meant NMB, because it doesn't say NMB in the NEC. Really, it just says it under the part 3 for 334. But we'll assume that it's 90 degree rated insulated conductors. Ultimately can't exceed the 60 degree. We get it. We understand. But let's kind of see how this works out. So first thing that I'd want to do is I want to know what the ampacity is of an 8.3 NM, right? And did it say it's in insulation? No, it's just an ambient temperature. It's not in insulation or anything. It's in an attic. We're just talking heat. Only thing we're doing is heat. All right. So first thing that I want to do, now we'll work this one out for the folks that haven't done this before. We're going to go down. Let me close some of these because there's just too many open. All right, so we're going to go to 310, and we're going to go to 310, 310-15B16. Okay, and we know that NMB is a 60-degree rated conductor. So first thing I want to look at is I see 8 gauge. I see 40 amperes. Just want to write that down. And then, of course, over here under the 90, because I can use adjustment and corrections under 334.80, says that I can use the 90 for adjustment and correction. So we'll write that 55 amps. Okay. And just remember, we can't exceed the value of the 40 even after adjustment and correction. So let's see how this works out. All right, let's go back to the question. All right. So next thing you know is we have 130 degree Fahrenheit. So what do we got to do next? Okay. Next, I need to go to 310-15B2A of the NEC. And see what that it is. It is right, 130 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to go to 310-15B2A here. Oh, incidentally, while I'm here, some people ask me this question, and I'll answer it for you guys here. What's the difference between B2A in the 30 degrees C and this one with the 40 degrees C? Okay. All of the stuff that you're going to do in an exam is going to be based on the 30 degrees. So you're going to use 310-15B2A. But you do have other tables like 310-19, 310-20, 310 that are all based on 40 degrees C. Those would reference you back here. Okay. But if you're using the normal ampacities under 310-15B16, things like that, you're always going to be in 310-15B2A. Okay. You'll generally be in this one. Okay. All right, so it was 130 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe. So it would be, the insulation rating is so it's 0.76 because it's supposed to be 90 degree rated insulation. But there's a reason I'm going to add the 0.41 down on my paper, because I'm going to worry whether or not this guy who wrote this question said NMB based on 60. He shouldn't, because from now on, it has to be 90 degree rated conductors inside of it anyway. So I'll assume he already knows that. So we're going to use the 76. All right, let's come back to me and you. Here. Okay, let's do it. So I had 55 amps. So 55 times 6 is 41.8. And I'm looking at dropping stuff on the floor. So I have 41.8. Okay. Now, if this question was based on a 60 degree, okay, 60 degree. Now, incidentally, I will tell you this. 41.8 is equal to or greater than the value in column 60 degree column, so that I still can use the ampacities up to 40 amps. Okay, that's kind of a beautiful example. All right. So you start from the 90, and when people ask me this, I guess this is special for all of you. Okay, this is let me get back to me because this is important. When you're doing, and whether you get this or not, when you're doing adjustments and corrections and you're using the 90 ampacity, all you're doing is an adjustment and correction to make sure that the conductor still has the acceptable ampacity under its terminal limitations after the conditions of use are applied. Okay? You with me? So in this case, it was, let's say it was 55. Now I applied the condition of use, which was the ambient temperature. That dropped it to 41.8. Well, 41.8 is my new ampacity. But column C is where my cable's limited to. And as long as it doesn't exceed that, and so 40 doesn't exceed 41.8, and so that's my new ampacity of the conductor. But I'm still going to be limited in column A, the 60 degree column, because that's what the code says under 334.80 that it's limited to. Okay, so that's kind of a little lesson. So let's see what let's go with the 41.8. Oh, You see where we're at? Why is it 40? I'll let somebody tell me. It's a reason why. Hold on. There's a reason why I just went through all that. Remember I said it's still 40? I mean, sorry, I had to do it that way. But there's a reason why. So it still has an ampacity. Wait a minute. I think Danny got it. Yeah. Excellent. Even after all of that, you're still limited to the 60-degree column. All you were doing is making sure that your conductor still could carry what was under the 60-degree column, because you're limited to 60 degree for N and B. But I can start. Now, why is that important? Because if I couldn't start from the 90, now what conductor ampacity? If I had to start from the 60, that sucker would be worth nothing at all. So you see how it works? Okay. Sorry I had to kind of go that route with you. But I did notice that Danny got it. So that was the reason I went through that little thing, is because at the end of the day, 60-degree column still limited at the 40. All we did was go to the 90 to make sure that after we apply that heat, is it still good for the use? Now, what if that value had to come in under 40? Okay, then we have a problem. Then we have a new ampacity value that we have to work out. Okay? All right. Let's see here. Let me do another question here. That was good. I liked how that one worked. That was good. I saw that coming. So, all right. Okay. Ooh, good one. All right. We got another good one. All right. Now, what is the minimum size 75 degree C copper branch circuit conductor are required to supply a continuous duty 208 volt 3-phase 30 horsepower motor with a nameplate ampere rating of 80 amperes? Wow. Okay. All right, guys, we're sizing conductors here. Remember, if you watched my motor video, this should be pretty easy for you. What do we have to do? We're on an exam, and this is a calculation. So again, in the Texas exam, it's a whole separate test. So you've got plenty of time to answer this. If you were on a regular, if code questions like this are in your regular exam, these are the ones you save for the third wave. You do the questions that you know, you mark these, you go to the next one, and then when you got the time, then you spend the time answering these calculations. Okay. First thing that we have to do for guys that are studying in this, that haven't watched my motor video, shame on you, you should go watch my motor video, is it's continuous duty. Okay. All right. So that's important. It's 208 volts and it's 3-phase and it's 30 horsepower. All those things are going to be important. Be honest with you, that nameplate rating of 80 amps doesn't mean absolutely anything to me. So if you were one of those people that immediately started looking at 80 amps under 310/15B16, you already screwed up. You're already screwed up because you're not going to use the 80 amps. That's only for the nameplate. We don't use nameplates when we're sizing conductors. Okay? You with me? Okay. So I got to go to where? 430, 250, right? So I'm going to go to 430 for those that are following along. Bear with me. I must have closed it. There we go. 430. And for me on electronic, I like to go to 440 and then I go backwards. 1, 2. There we go. So there we go. So it's 30 horsepower and it's 208. So it's 88 amps. So I'm going to write that down. Real quickly on a cheat sheet, on the paper they give you at the exam, you just boom, boom, boom. You write that down. Okay. Oops, sorry. There I am right there. There's the 88 right there. It's 3-phase, 3 horsepower, 3-phase. That's the table. And 430, 88. So that's our amps. Okay. Now let's go back to the question. And okay, 75 degree copper. So it's 75 degree conductors. So, we're 75 degree limitations. And we notice that it is, what else do we need here? Oh, it's a continuous duty. So it's a continuous duty motor. So obviously we have 430.22 we got to worry about. That's 125%, right? So you probably already have it by now. I'm sure. Let's see if anybody's got it. Oh, there we go. I see some answers. So 88 times 1.25, 110. Once we know 110, then where do we go? Then we got to go over to where? 310, 15, B16. Yes. See all these steps? On an exam like Texas, by the way, guys, this is considered a 3-step question. And there's not a whole lot of 3 steps questions, questions for calculation. Not a whole lot of them, trust me. Don't get freaked out about it. Now, other states might be more, but not usually. Now, we're under the 75. No other conditions of use were applied. There's no heat. There was no bundling. There didn't say anything about that, so I don't have to think about that. So I'm looking for something that's good for 110. Well, it looks like a 2 is good for 115. Looks good to me. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going on my question, and I'm seeing a 2. And there's the calculation. Exactly how y'all just did it. Oh, don't Tim, did you? Okay. Well, that's a 3-stepper there. Okay. Don't freak yourself out, I am. Don't freak yourselves out and saying, oh my God, they're going to get worse than that. I don't think they are. I've taught thousands of people all over the country, and I've taught plenty of people in Oregon. You'll be okay. No problems. All right, so again, but some states have 3 steps. Some will be 4. Again, 4 could be just as simple. Wait a minute, this might be 4 steps. Wait a minute. 1 step, 2 calculation, 3, 4. This one might be a 4-step. Okay, this might be a 4-step. Okay. All right, it doesn't really matter how many steps it is. If you know how to do it, it's very easy. All right, let's do another one here. That's a pretty good one there. All right. Uh-oh. This was similar to the other one, kinda, maybe. Some of them. It says, in regards to emergency and legally required standby systems, transfer switches shall be blank and approved by the authority having jurisdiction. Well, I know right up the bat, I could look at this and I know that when it comes to legally required and emergency, there is 3 of them here that totally make no sense. So on an exam, that first wave, I know the answer to this one right away. But if we had to find it, we're going to look for the keywords here. We're definitely dealing in emergency and legally required, so this should be identical in 700 and 701, so that the reference should be identical. Again, we're dealing with transfer switch, so that's identical. Now, the one thing we're going to remember is that authority having jurisdiction is pretty unique, so that's a trigger to look for once I get there to where I need to be. So if I was going to the back of the code, then I would look at, thank you, Ronald. I appreciate that donation. I appreciate you. The key here is, I now know that I can be in 701 or 700 to answer this question. And it's talking about transfer switches. So for me, I'm probably going to go right to emergency, 700, probably what I'm going to do if I was in the exam. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go straight to 700 and I'm going to look for those transfer switches. And I'm going to go right here, emergency, and I'm going to hit the bolds right here, the bolds, and I'm going to look for references to transfer switches. Okay, and we'll just play that out right here. Here's transfer equipment right here. All right. Okay. And here's automatic, and I see the term automatic. Okay. And here's the term, here's authority having jurisdiction. That jumped out at me. It says transfer switch, including automatic transfer switches, shall be automatic, identified for emergency use and approved by the AHJ. Okay, so I'm seeing some terms that I like. And here's automatic. Automatic transfer switches shall be electrically operated, mechanically held. Automatic transfer switches shall be listed for emergency use only, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of that. And I'm going to go back to the question. And my question says, manual, no. Non-automatic, didn't even make a reference. Nothing was said about red. A lot of automatic went on. So there I'm at 701 or 700.5A. So that was what we have in the very beginning of our question. Let's go back to our NEC right here. Automatic. Says it shall be automatic. Okay, can't be manual. Only one that can be manual is the optional. optional. Okay? But you could have used legally required. You could have used automatic. All of those. You could have gone to the back of the book and used legally required, or you could have used probably gone to the back and looked under emergency, and you would have seen transfer equipment. And it would have, so there's so many good ways to get the answer for that one. Okay? All right, let's do another one. And I got to go because my food has been ready since 7, and I'm sure it's cold right now. A neutral conductor is always, this is a good one. An ungrounded conductor, a grounded conductor, a conductor connected to the neutral point of a system that is intended to carry current under normal conditions is white in color. Think about this one real quick, guys. Think about it. Think about it before you just answer it. And if you happen to be a Patreon member and you listen to my Article 200, then, would have stuck out to you. All right, so neutral conductor. Now, a neutral conductor is, just so a little lesson here, a neutral conductor is always a grounded conductor. But a grounded conductor is not always a neutral. Okay? Boy, that sounds cryptic, doesn't it? So, again, a grounded is intentionally connected to Earth. Intentional, right? A neutral conductor is a certain point on the transformer, whether it's a mid-winding or if it's a Y transformer, it's a midpoint. If it's a delta, it's a halfway between between the phases, a midpoint on a winding. Again, three-phase transformer can be one transformer with 3 separate windings around an iron core, or it could be 3 separate single-phase transformers connected together. Okay, a bunch of ways to do that. Most of the time, it's 3. When you see them on a pole, you see 3 single transformers. That's a 3-phase, but it's connected together. If you only see one of them, it's typically just a 1-phase bucket. All right. So, bunch of different here. So, a neutral conductor is obviously it's not an ungrounded conductor. That's a hot conductor. Makes sense. Obviously, it can't be white in color because it can be also gray in color, right? So that's not your best answer. It says a neutral is a grounded conductor. Okay, well, that's plausible because a neutral is always a grounded conductor. Okay, and then it says a neutral is the conductor connected to the neutral point of the system that is intended to carry current under normal conditions. So we've got 2 choices here. Now, best way to answer this one is you've narrowed it down to 50-50, right? Narrowed it down to 50-50, all right? So let's go to the NEC real quick, and I'm going to go, while we're here, in case, you don't want to get one wrong on an exam if you're trying to take an exam. Let's go to definitions real quick. And let's just see what it says under definitions if you're, getting an exam. I know we discussed it, but let's just kind of go. So a neutral conductor. It's a conductor connected to the neutral point of a system that is intended to carry current under normal conditions. Boy, sounds to me like that's plausibly the answer, right? So let's go back to the browser and let's do this one, and that is correct. All right. Now, why would it be a grounded conductor? Okay, I wish that now that I could go back. Hold on, I'm going to try something. Oh, crap, it won't let me do it. I wanted to go back and say it. I don't know that's a question that's very weird because I'm interested to see what would have happened if I clicked grounded conductor. And I think it is, the question was, a neutral is always a grounded conductor. Okay? So again, it's a little, I don't know about that. I think we chose the right point because we used the definition and looked it up in the code. But I narrowed it down to a 50-50. 50-50. And the other reason I'll tell you this is because if I were to go look at the NEC real quick, and I go back to these definitions, and let's look real quick. Why I'm going to say that is grounded conductor right here. It's a system or circuit conductor that is intentionally grounded. Okay? So essentially, I see that as a plausible answer too. So, we'll never know. We'll never know what the answer was for that one other than that. But we got it right because based on the definition. Okay? But as I say, unless I'm having a brain fart tonight, all neutrals are grounded conductors, but not all grounded conductors are neutrals. Okay? All right, anyway, just a tip. All right, so let's look at this one, and I'll end on this one tonight, and so we can, everybody can get to bed at a decent time. All right, apply the general method of calculation. So general method of calculation for a dwelling unit. Okay, and when we say general, I'm pretty much thinking it's saying standardized method, the standard method. It says, and determine the demand load in kW on the ungrounded servicing conductors for a single 2,800 watt electric range. Okay, so again, what is the kW demand? Okay, what is this range? This is okay, so what we're doing is we're doing a calculation, and it's a dwelling unit, and we're doing a demand load calculation in kW, and we're doing a service entrance conductor sizing. So, and it's a single 2,800 watt electric range. Wow, that's a honker. Okay, but I want you to think about this question for a minute. Okay, what is the demand load in kW for this? Okay, and it's a single 20,800 watt. And what I'll do is on my screen, I'll go to, hopefully y'all see the code, and I'll go to the code book. And let's go to, immediately in your mind, you should be thinking 220.55. That's what your mind should be thinking. Okay? All right? All right, now, I was looking at something. Somebody DM'd me. Oh. Oh, that's cool. Sorry about that, folks. I was looking at somebody's post. All right, so you should have your 220.55, and I think that's what it's trying to ask. Let's see what we got here. All right, we have Matt. And let's see, Brian. Danny. Since we're ending on this one. Jay. I got, seems like everybody, hold on real quick. Let me see, Danny. But Danny, that's not a choice in the answers. So you got to use one of the, let me put it back on the screen for you. It's got to be one of these choices. We already know one thing. It can't be 8. Well, it can't be 8. That would be one range, but that would be where it doesn't exceed 12, right? So we know that it can't just flat be 8. Okay? The question is it 20.8? Is it 12.5? Or is it 11.6? Interesting enough, 20,800 is actually 20.8. 0.8 is a major fraction. So, again, one easy way to do this, so it's a major. So I tell people how to do this. Oops. 1 minus 12 is 9 times 5%. Yep. Okay, so, all right, I've got what I think it is. Let's see here. Well, we got some note 1s. Okay. All right, y'all ready? Boom. And I was so excited I don't know if y'all saw the little thumbs up, because I think Jay has just finished that unit in Fast Trax, and or something in that scenario. And so remember, when we said demand, that means we're going to have to do something. Remember, if it says connected or calculated or demand, that's after we apply something. Okay? So if it had asked me what is the if this same question shows up on an exam and says what's the calculated load in watts, then it would be 20.8 or 20,800. Connected, in other words. When we already do the value, and if a question asks you demand load or to ask you a calculated, that means you have to do something, right? Something, okay? And so the key here is that, again, the problem with this was that it exceeded 12. So note 1 says, okay, it's not more than 27, and this is 20.8. So the key was you had to go, okay, well, it exceeds 12 by how many kW? And since 0.8 was a major portion, I teach people to just move it up to the next one, make it simple for you. So that would be 21 kW as far as the number to work from. And then you just do 21 minus 12, and whatever have that value left, you do that, and basically that's your 5 times the 9 is 5 times 9 equals 45. Okay, or you could have done the value 8 times 145%. That's a way to do it. Different ways you could have done it. But in this case, you want to remember something. You at least use the 8 kW because that's one range. And then you apply it. You only have to do the 5% as it's over 12, but you're still going to do those 5% for every kW over 12. You're going to apply that to the 8 kW, not to the 12. You with me? That's what gets people. And I was excited, tickled to see that Jay got that right off the bat. Okay? Anybody else get that? No, Jay got that right off the bat. So okay, yep. So and you don't have to round up, but you just have to remember that point. Let's look back at the code just so y'all guys know. Just so you know, this is what Jay is using right here. Notice that it's what it says. It says, and I'll highlight it. It says, when it's over 12 through 27 ranges, all of the same type. Okay, and we just have one, so it really doesn't matter, but it still applies. It says, for ranges individually rated more than 12, but not more than 27, the maximum demand in column C, and the maximum demand was 8 kW. That was the maximum demand for one range. Shall be increased by 5% for each additional kilowatt of rating or major fraction thereof by which the rating of individual exceeds 12. So if you look at it this way, it makes all the sense in the world, guys, doesn't it? It starts to make sense when you look at it this way. The demand in column C for one range is 8. But I'm only going to add 5% for every kW or major fraction. And again, 0.5 and greater is a major fraction. For every one that exceeds 12, I'm going to increase it by 5%. And what am I increasing 5% by? 5% of the 8 kW. So the easiest way to do that is, again, to get your number, I always just go 5 times how many? So again, it was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's 9 times 5 is 45%. I know that if 100 is the 8, to add the additional 45, I just multiply it by 145%. That gives me the additional 45%. And you do it from the 8. Okay? I can see that on an exam every day of the week. Right? I can see that. So, again, anyway, that's it for tonight, guys. I hope y'all got something out of it. If somebody's going to ask me if I'm going to reshare this stream, the answer is no. This stream is just for y'all, for those that participate. I have come to the conclusion that I don't think it's fair for those to watch it later. I know that sounds bad, but it's definitely, I want people to come here live to get stuff out of it. Okay? So I'm probably not going to share the restream. All right? All right. Hey, I appreciate all of you. If you want information about the Fast Trax program, you want a demo of it, let me know, and I'll do a demo for you. I think you can ask some of the guys here who are really, look at the people that are really just starting to rattle off these code references and everything like that. I mean, and getting it right on the first go and things like that. And all of you in here, if you've been in here long enough, Danny, all of y'all, the more you do this, the better you get. And that's why I do it. Okay, so I don't want them to be on it. Another reason is, be honest with you, some of you might, but if I were to upload this 2 hour and 16-minute video to my YouTube channel, nobody's going to watch all 2 hours. Traditionally, I watch all of you, everybody that's on my site, I track how long they're on watching videos. And I am lucky if somebody watched something for 12 to 15 minutes. And that's sad because a lot of my videos are long and I want people to watch them. But I'm a realist. I get it. I understand. Time is, So anyway, so again, it's not a site. Fast Trax is just go to, masterthenec.com. You purchase the course and then you get a key and then it gives you instructions on how to get in. It's easy to do. So all these questions are beautiful for you to practice with, but they're all available in the Fast Trax program. So hopefully y'all got something out of it. I appreciate y'all. Those that are in the Fast Trax, remember, you can go back and do lessons over and over again, okay? And even if you've done the competency reviews, you can always do them again. And, it just keeps you moving through the code book, okay? That type of thing. Repetition. Do it over and over and over and over again. And make it fun. Learning the code shouldn't be boring. It should be fun, okay? So, all right, guys, get into it. And all of you that are in the Fast Trax program, get on it. I should have all your grades updated. I haven't checked today to see if there's any. But make sure you go in there and look at the comments if I leave you any, that type of thing. So get on it. I appreciate all of you. You all are important to me, and your success is very important to me. So I want to make sure that you succeed. You can email me with any question. Email is info, I-N-F-O, at... one of these days I'm going to put it on the screen. That's probably easier. I'll just push a button and it'll come up because I got a button I could push. Anyway, okay. Anyway, it's info, I-N-F-O, at masterthenec.com. I try to get back to most everyone unless it gets in a roll and I forget them. I will try my best to keep them up to date if I can. And I will do what I can to try to answer any question I can for anybody. Okay, so I appreciate all of you. Anybody has any questions, they're more than happy to email me. Let me know. Anybody got any questions before I leave? Quick questions. I'll answer any quick questions. And I have no idea why the donations, they did come up on this screen, but they didn't come up. They're not scrolling on the top. I have no idea. Maybe it will do next broadcast. They'll be up there. I have no idea. Everybody stay safe. Don't go where you don't need to go. Okay? Don't get out there and get a hold of that COVID-19 crap. Don't need that, man. Don't need that. Hopefully America gets back to work as quickly as we can. Okay? And yes, thank you all. My wife does sacrifice quite a bit when I do these things. But she's been used to it for over 30 years now. Online, I've been doing stuff for over almost 20, so she's been used to all that stuff, okay? So, what program do I use to stream? I use what's called Streamcast. It's called, no, excuse me, I take that back, I'm sorry. It's called Streamlabs by OBS Streamlabs. And you customize it and tweak it and all this kind of stuff, and I've got all these little tweaks and things like that. But again, it's called, just type in a search bar, OBS, and then Streamlabs, all one word, Streamlabs, and you'll find it. Okay? It's a pretty good program, good streaming program. All right, guys, thank y'all. Appreciate you. And till next time, you stay safe. All right?